we wanted to add a quick addendum for two cool things that we missed in the first series of videos. Still using this object maker example, which basically makes a row of objects. The change here is, rather than running a Maya command based upon an input string, we're just running the Maya command directly in the attribute. So what's cool about this is that I'm running this command to create the polycube, and that just gets substituted right down into the code block and runs as if we're just executing that Maya command. Now, of course, I could specify things like the size of the cube and the divisions of the cube and any other things in there. Now, when I look at the spheres, I've just overridden the object with the polysphere command. So let's just take a quick look at that. I'll execute from selected, zip over to Maya, and we can see that it's basically the same thing. So the second really cool thing that we wanted to show is one detail about how attributes are inherited that was kind of missed earlier. So you can see that in this scene node, it's got a child called cubes and a child called spheres, and then another instance of an instance called spheres 2. All quite simple. It's just building a range of objects with some of these parameters punched in. All right, it's got my offset, my spacing, my z offset, and specifying the object. I have a couple of options. If I wanted to increase the spacing for everything, I could go back to the prototype node right here, and I could just change the spacing to something like 5. And that change would propagate all the way down into all of the children. Okay, so let's just take a look at this. We'll just execute this, zip back over, and now we can see that we've got a bigger space between everything. What if I wanted to leave my prototype, or the thing I'm instancing from, alone, but I wanted to change it to this entire hierarchy? Well, notice that all of these children here have a unoverridden value for spacing, and it's all set to 5. If I come to this parent node and add an attribute and call it spacing and override that value with something like, let's make it really tight together so it's obvious, with a value of 1, you'll see that it picks up and prefers the value from its parent before it prefers the value from the instance. So to run this, we'll see that everything is stacked really close right now. Now, even though it picks up the value from here, if at any time I want to elevate a value, like on spheres 2, and specify this as a 3, I can locally override that value. And now we'll see that that greater spacing got picked up on this third stack. Now, at any time, I can also go back in and revert that value, or remove that attribute, and then it will fall back to what it inherited from its parent. And if I remove this attribute here, you'll see that it will fall back to the original attribute from the prototype. Pretty great. So let's just show this one more time, execute, and we're back to exactly where we started. So those are the two cool things that we missed in the other attribute section.